Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back to another Threshold Thursday here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. I'm your host, Nyomi Banks, and today we are diving deep into those mental barriers that keep us stuck at the threshold of our transformation. So, this week that we've been walking through, my explant journey together, from the decision-making process with Dr. Will on Monday to me sharing my deepest why on Tuesday and to exploring feminine wellness with amazing Latasha yesterday. And today I want to talk about something that every single person listening is going to relate to, and that is those mental blocks. You see that? That shows up right when we're about to make that life-changing decision. But before we get deep into this topic, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnaomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you. All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back. Well, before we dive into our topic, let's just ground ourselves in this sacred space of transformation, all right? So if you can close your eyes if you can and just find a comfortable position. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it. Now exhale through your mouth. I want you to imagine yourself standing at the threshold. Not just any doorway, but the doorway to your next level of being. Feel your feet planted firmly on the ground. You are safe. You are supported. And you are exactly where you need to be. Now with your next breath, I want you to breathe in courage and breathe out fear. Now I want you to breathe in clarity and breathe out confusion. And this next breath, I want you to breathe in trust and breathe out doubt. Now place your hand on your heart and repeat after me silently. I am brave enough to cross this threshold. I trust my journey. I honor my growth. And take one more deep breath in. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people, if you're new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something that we do every day, Monday through Friday, just to help to ground us before we get to the topic at hand. All right, my beautiful soul. So, as I've been preparing for my surgery next month that I've been experiencing something that I know many of you have felt. And it's those moments when your mind tries to talk you out of the very thing that your soul is calling you toward. So let me be real with you. Even though I know in my bones that removing these implants is the right decision for me, but there have been nights when I've laid in my bed and thought, what if I'm making a mistake? What if I regret this? What if I don't feel feminine anymore? And you know what I realized? This is exactly where the real work happens. Not in a decision itself, but in the mental space between the decision and the action. So let's talk about that threshold space. So there's this space that I call it the threshold space, right? Where we already made the decision, but haven't yet stepped into the new reality. And let me tell you, this space can be very scary, because this is where our old programming comes up and needs to be healed, right? When you're there, you've made a decision, you're sitting there, and you can see the reality, but you haven't been in that reality as of yet. And so there's all these whys. There's all these whys, and not the why that I used on Tuesday, but the why. Okay, why am I doing this? Or the what ifs. And for me, these old voices, they have been very loud. Been very loud this week, especially when I decided that I was going to put myself on Front Street, and share my story. And I'm going to share some more of these loud voices that I've been getting this week. You built your career on this image, right? You built your career on this image. And next, what will people think? Are you being dramatic? The symptoms might not even be from the implants. It might be something totally different. Or you're too old to start over with your body. Does it sound familiar? Maybe your threshold voices are saying to you, you're not enough to start that business, or you're too old to go back to school, or you don't deserve that relationship, or who are you to think that you can change? Those voices are loud. But today we're going to talk about how can we make those voices whispers? How can we make them where they're less important in our mental space? So let's talk about the psychology of fear. Here's what I've learned about these mental barriers that we have. They're not actually trying to stop us, but they're trying to keep us safe. This is a part of our nervous system. And in our nervous system is literally designed to keep us in familiar territory, even when that territory is harming us. That's because we're familiar with it. Dr. Will and I, we talked about this on Monday, on how our brain would choose the familiar discomfort over the unfamiliar possibility every single time, unless we consciously intervene. You see, when I feel that fear rising about my surgery, I've learned to pause and ask, is this fear giving me information, or is it trying to keep me small? You see, there's a difference, y'all. Fear as information sounds like, make sure you have a good support system in place. Now, what it sounds like for fear trying to keep you small sounds like you're making the biggest mistake of your life. And usually we say these are the stories that we tell ourselves, right? That's wild. You see, the stories that we tell ourselves about why we can't change are usually more creative than any fiction novel. I was telling myself, if I remove my implants, that I might lose my confidence. But the truth is that my confidence is in my breast. It's in my spirit. It is in my wisdom. It is my ability to love and serve others. You see, if I remove my implants, I won't feel feminine. That's that little sound in the back of my mind. But the truth is that my femininity isn't about my cup size. It isn't about how I move through the world, how I nurture, how I create, or how I love. Another story is if I remove my implants, my career will suffer. But the truth is my career is built on my authenticity and my transformation. And this is authenticity and transformation. So my question is to you right now, what stories are you telling yourself about why you can't? Or what have your soul been calling you for? And I'm going to say that again, just in case you missed that. What stories are you telling yourself about why you can't have what your soul is calling for you? So, I'm just not going to leave you like that. So I have some tools for breaking through that. I'm going to share some practical tools that have been helping me to navigate these mental barriers. And I think we talked about it a little bit before earlier on Monday, but one of the things is the reality check questions. When a fear comes up, I ask myself, is this actually true? Or is this my wounded inner child trying to protect me? Usually it's the latter. And then my next one is the 10-year vision. I imagine myself at 63 looking back on this decision. What would that future version of myself want me to know? You always say, trust yourself. You got this. I'm proud of you. You've grown so much. You did this. And the third is about the body wisdom practice. I know I share with you in meditations about placing your hands on your heart, but that is what I do. I place my hand on my heart and I ask my body what it needs. And every single time it says freedom, healing, and authenticity. Just the other day, I was doing a pre-recording of an amazing guest that's coming up soon in the next few weeks. And I remember having this conversation with her about freedom. She shared with me that the day after she got her explants, she removed her implants. It was a sense of freedom that just came over her body. And she was just so at ease. And I remember during that conversation, there was tears in my eyes. And I say, I can see that. Like I shared with you all before, the disabling feeling that I feel when I have those, I want to say episodes when my body shuts down on me completely and vertigo happens and legs swell up and you can't move. It's very disabling. And I said, and I truly, my heart and my prayers go out to anybody who was dealing with a disability of being paralyzed. Because that is what you feel like. The next one is the gratitude reframe. So instead of us focusing on what I might lose, I focus on what I'm gaining. I'm gaining my health. I'm gaining my alignment. I'm gaining my complete authenticity. But also I am gaining a community that I've always prayed to be able to serve. And that was women. And so y'all know I don't make any major decisions without considering the spiritual aspect of it. And this is the spiritual dimension. And what I've been receiving in my meditation time is this. Sometimes God calls us to release the very things that we once prayed for, not as a punishment, but as a promotion. You see, these implants, they serve their purpose in a certain season in my life. But seasons change. And what served me at 31 years old doesn't serve me at 53. And this isn't about rejecting my past. It's about honoring my growth. And we talk a lot about the ripple effect of courage. And again, I had the pleasure of sitting down with some amazing women that's sharing their story, and that takes courage. And I remember one of them saying, when I saw your post up in the Facebook page, and I said, man, that's a great idea. I would love to do that. When you said about you going through your surgery and you using your platform to do this, I got the urge to get the courage to share my story as well. Not just on this platform here on Facebook in a group, but I want a possibility to share my voice with million other women that I know that probably been in the same predicament or situation that I am. So here's what I want you to understand, my beautiful people out there, is that when you break through your mental barriers and you step into your truth, you don't just change your life, you change the lives of everyone watching you. I know my daughters are watching how I navigate this decision. My listeners are taking notes. Other women are considering explants and are finding courage in my story. Men who need to make difficult health decisions are learning that it's okay to prioritize wellness over image. So when we choose courage over comfort, we give everyone around us permission to do the same. So let's talk about your threshold moment right now. So I want to ask you, what threshold are you standing at right now? What decision in your soul is calling you to make that your mind is trying to talk you out of? So maybe it's leaving a job that's draining your soul, or ending a relationship that no longer is serving you, or starting a business that you've been dreaming about, or maybe moving to a new city, going back to school, having a difficult conversation, prioritizing your health, or just setting boundaries with family, or better yet, just investing in yourself. But whatever it is, I want you to know that those mental barriers that you're experiencing, they're normal. They're part of the process. And that don't mean that you're making the wrong decision. They mean that you're making a significant one. And so here's what I want you to do to practice for this week. 1, I want you to name your threshold. What decision is calling you? 2, I want you to identify your mental barriers and what stories are you telling yourself about why you can't. And 3, question those stories. Question those stories that you tell yourself. Are they true? Or are they a protection mechanism? And 4, connect with your why. What's the deeper reason that this change matters to you? And last, number 5, take one small action. What's one tiny step you can make towards your threshold this week? And I want you to remember that crossing the threshold doesn't happen all at one time. It happens one brave choice at a time. So my beautiful people, before we close, let's do an ending meditation together, all right? So if you are ready, please close your eyes, and I want you to place your hands, both of your hands, onto your heart. And I want you to feel that heartbeat, that steady, strong, and wise. And when you breathe in, I want you to breathe in trust. and breathe out fear. I want you to breathe in possibilities and breathe out limitations. I want you to breathe in power and breathe in doubt. Now I want you to see yourself 6 months from now, having crossed this threshold that's calling you today. I want you to look at that version of yourself. And how do they stand? How do they smile? What energy do they carry? You see, that person is already within you. They're not waiting for you to become that perfect. They're waiting for you to become brave. So now take one more deep breath in. And when you are ready, open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people. Well, tomorrow is Freedom Friday, and I'm going to share some powerful tools for preparing practical and spiritual with you in a very major way. So until then, I want you to remember that you are braver than you believe. You are stronger than you seem, and you are more capable than you can ever imagine. That threshold that you're standing at right now, you're ready to cross it. You are so ready to cross it. I love you. I see you. And I am cheering you on every step of the way. Have an amazing day. And keep choosing courage. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.